totally wrong. Terrorist is terrorist. When they also the violent activities also carried and bloodshed, actually no longer Muslim, no longer Buddhist. So I think it is wrong. Buddhist terrorist or Islam terrorist. I think that's wrong. So according to Muslim, Islam, genuine Islam practitioner, once create bloodshed, no longer genuine practitioner of Islam. The very meaning of jihad is not harming other people, but jihad is within your own emotion, combat between compassion and anger, or constructive emotion, destructive emotion, combat. That's the real meaning of jihad. So therefore, you see, actually all religion, I think, I myself also, as a simple Buddhist monk, whole days and even in dream time, I carry some sort of combat with my destructive emotion and constructive emotion. So almost 24 hours I carry jihad. Like that. So I think without knowing properly, then sometimes even you see some articles or some sort of impression, the clash between Western civilization and Islam, totally wrong. So that I think I want to share with you here. That's one thing. Then, thirdly, I'm Tibetan. So since political responsibility, now since 2011, I totally retired. Now no longer the responsibility about political matter. And not only myself retired, but also 4th century old tradition. Dalai Lama institution automatically become head of both temporal and spirituality. Now that formally, proudly, voluntarily ended. So now Dalai Lama, not only myself, but in case future Dalai Lama come, no longer any sort of significance in the political field. The Chinese government, I think, still feel Dalai Lama is something important for political field. So therefore, they show more concern about Dalai Lama's also the reincarnation. I am not. So since then, my main sort of interest or responsibility is preservation of Tibetan culture. Tibetan culture is culture of peace, culture of non-violence, culture of compassion. I think that kind of culture is really worthwhile to preserve. And then Buddhist tradition. I think we Tibetan, I think since 8th century, one top master of Nalanda institution invited by Tibetan emperor, he introduced Buddhism in Tibet according to Nalanda tradition. Nalanda tradition study all different schools of thought, including non-Buddhist school of thought. Then make a comparison. When you make a comparison, extensively use logic. So that's very, very helpful. I think in some extent, my own mind, because of way of training that way, so 81-year-old person's mind still quite, I'll say,
sharp.
quite sharp. So So now some contrast this and my brain is clear. This now difficult. So I really feel worthwhile to preserve a Tibetan Buddhist knowledge. And then Tibetan environment. So my friend, also I think friend of Tibet, please keep in your mind regarding preservation of Tibetan ecology and Tibetan culture, Tibetan Buddhist knowledge.
A volte